Welcome to the Healing Light Wellness podcast, where we delve deep into the journey of personal transformation and healing. I'm your host, Charlene Smart, and on today's episode, I'm going to share with you how our journey to healing builds upon itself. As the series continues, so does my healing. And I would like to thank you. I am so honored that you have joined me on this journey and have been here to witness and support my further healing. One of the biggest things I have learned, or maybe I've had the opportunity to experience in great depth, is that our healing truly does build on itself. When I started healing all those years ago, I thought I'm just going to go out and heal the actual trauma, the things that had been done to me. But once I healed that, I then realized I had to heal all of the things that those memories were connected to, meaning how I felt about myself, how I felt about the world around me, and all of those moments that sexual trauma caused events in my life or caused me to have different thoughts or emotions along the way. All of those had to be healed. And all of that had to be healed before I came and shared it with you. Because it would have looked a little different or a lot different had I not done that work in the beginning. Well, earlier this week, I realized that I had one more layer, and I won't say it's the last one, but I had one more layer of healing that I needed to experience. And there's no way I would have been able to do it as well as I did had I not been able to share my story with you. And I'd like to explain a little bit of what happened earlier this week because it really was an amazing healing scary experience. So I was called in for jury duty. The summons stated to plan for 4 days, which meant this wasn't going to be kind of a benign thing for me. This was going to be a trial that was probably going to hit a little close to home. As you can imagine, yes, it was for the sexual abuse of a minor. Knowing from the past that if you don't show up for work or if you don't show up for court, you will have a warrant out for your arrest. Now, I only know that, not because I ever had a warrant, but because I tried to get out of jury duty 3 years ago and due to work. And the clerk of court was very quick to explain to me that, sure, of course, I knew them because I worked in the courthouse back then, but she said, sure, you can not show up so you can go work at the Burke County Fair, but I'm going to put out a warrant for your arrest. Okay, so ditching out of court was not an option this time. So I knew that I was going to need to attend. And I was okay with it. I had now, okay, maybe is a bit over stating how I was, but truly I really felt okay. I felt under control. I did think about it. I had discussions with my husband of how would I handle this. And at least I felt a little prepared going into it. So the day of the jury trial, I get to the courthouse. And quite honestly, I worked at the courthouse for almost 9 years. I'd never seen it as full as it was this day. The amount of jurors that they had was overwhelming. So we all filter in to the courtroom and it is full, bursting at the seams with jurors. As the questions start coming, the lawyer asks if anybody would have a problem sitting through a trial like this. And mind you, we have just been explained the charges, who the defendant is, who the victim is, and it was a little charged. So I grabbed my bag of tools and I tapped and used my little finger tapping, used tapping on my chest and truly caused bruising, but that's okay. It was what I needed to do to get through it, and I was so glad to have the tools. But when it came to this question of who would have a hard time sitting through this trial, without hesitation, my hand goes up, as do 3 other people. And so remember, I'm not the only one, and all 4 of us were kind of in the same area of the courtroom. And suddenly the lawyer looks at me and he says, "Okay, juror number 24, why can't you sit through this trial?" And they hand me a microphone. When I say the courtroom is bursting at the seams, I kid you not. They had excused about 15 jurors, so I was sitting in a room with 50 jurors and about 10 other people, including the defendant. So I grab the microphone and I tell him that I am a survivor of sexual abuse and I cannot be an unbiased juror. And I took a big breath. Okay, I got that out of the way, right? To which he looks me dead in the eye and says, "So what you're telling me is you haven't even heard any of the testimony and you find my client guilty." To which I very calmly, I'm sure my voice was cracking, I definitely was shaking. I calmly say, "Unfortunately, that's true." Thinking he would then let it go, but he continues to push. And he continues to say, "Your job is, as a juror, is to listen to all the evidence and then make a decision. But what you're telling me is you've already made your decision." And I had to say to him, yes, that's correct. I would not be able to listen to any of this and be able to do so from an unbiased standpoint. To which he then said, even if, no matter what the state's, what did he call it? No matter what the state has for evidence or lack thereof, you wouldn't be able to be unbiased. And that's about the time Char got a little bit, not as calm as she was. And I said, yes, no matter what evidence or lack thereof, as you are stating, is brought forth, one, there's no way I can sit through hearing that without tremendous amounts of pain. But there is also no way that I could be unbiased. And if you would like me to explain why, I'll be happy to elaborate. To which he says, "Thank you, juror number 24. What I was going to say, I would probably have been held in contempt of court for. But what I wanted to say is, I will always side with the victim, because there are too many times when the victim is not believed or heard, and there are too many times that the victim does not feel as if she can even, or he can even come forward. For exactly this reason, because you're already setting it up that he is innocent. And I realize we are innocent until proven guilty. But what I'm saying is, I cannot be that person to call it that way. Which I kind of feel bad about, but ultimately what I'm saying is, I am not the right person for this jury. Now he continued to move forward and ask the next person, who very gently said, "I'm a victim too." And he moved on quite quickly. Why he pushed me, I don't know. I'm assuming it's because I specifically said I wouldn't be unbiased, but maybe it was something that I needed to do. I needed to stand. Well, I didn't actually stand. So I needed to say in front of 60 people that I am a child, I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse. And I'll be honest, it was one more step in my healing. Now, I did not get excused from the jury selection at this point or from the voir diring, but what really got me is I think that's wrong, because I then had to listen to this same lawyer when another juror called the victim a victim. The lawyer corrected the juror and said the alleged victim. And then later there was a question of whether or not a juror believed that teenagers sometimes don't tell their parents the truth. I believe that is when I probably bruised my chest. But the point is that there is no way I could have sat without crying, without being so overwhelmed and probably in a puddle on the floor in that jury room, in that jury selection, had I not done the healing in the past. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, yes, pun intended, that I would not have been able to remain as I did had I not been here and shared my story with you. Healing definitely builds on itself. And I know sometimes we find ourselves frustrated when we think, oh, I've already healed this, Char. Why am I back here again? And I'm going to say we're not back here again. I'm going to say welcome to just a new version of you. We're clearing and moving and healing one more part of yourself that needs to be healed. So we're not hiding any of those little tiny moments that can then pop up later. So when you find yourself healing again or continuing to heal, and I'll be honest, you guys, I was a little frustrated when I started this series because there was still healing to be done. But in this moment today, I say, let's embrace the continued healing of all of us. Whether it's been 7 years, 7 days, or 7 hours. Now, thank you again for being here with me and walking this journey with me. It truly is an honor to have you here. I went ahead and dropped in the tapping meditation to reduce any emotions you may be feeling in the episode notes again, so that it's easy for you to find. And if you need me, as always, I'm here. Reach out to me anytime. And until we meet again, may your days be filled with love and light.